Please enjoy this feature presentation of the Crooked River Radio Network. This program may contain adult content and is intended for mature audiences only.
Radioactive is sponsored by CrookedRiverRadio.com. Crooked River Radio is an internet radio station that is live 24/7 playing top 40 hits from the 60s through the 80s. You can find us on Live 365, Simple Radio, Roku, Radio Garden, and even Alexa, as well as our website. Come on and join us on the Crooked River.
The story you are about to see is true, however the names were changed to protect the imbeciles.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Welcome to Radioactive. Join us as we look at technology and life in the world around us, and have a little fun with it too. I'm Pat Morrow, and
this is Jon Brown.
I'm Erik Nanarrone.
I'm Flora Morrow.
And
I'm Dale Miracle, and this is Radioactive.
Volume is a little high on that.
we're working on it.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. We've had some technical difficulties. That's why we're a little late getting started here today. I still got to turn that down. That thing's a little too hot. But we can go ahead and start talking anyway.
Yeah. It sounds better already. So, how's everybody doing tonight?
I give up. How we doing?
Well, silence from everybody else, it looks like. I'm doing pretty good. I'm not happy about the game, but we'll get into that tomorrow. I was actually there, so got to see a little more than the TV cameras catch. But anybody else?
How about you two? What's going on, Justine? Melanie? Somebody?
I'm trying to get good in here. Hold on just a second. My Dale, not Dale Miracle. Okay.
What? Huh?
What?
I said I'm trying to get my Dale in here. Give me a minute. I'll be right back.
Oh, you're Dale in here. That sounds serious.
I'm doing okay. I'm
That's good.
working on schoolwork and trying to get it all done.
Yeah, we've had quite a week. It's been a comedy of errors sometimes, and then there's been some other stuff that's happened that just saddened me. Well, look at that. There's a Dale in here, and it's not a miracle.
How about that? I didn't realize you had the video up.
Feedback.
Sorry.
You guys in the same room? If you are, you're going to have to leave one of the mics off. Anyway, let's... I had originally planned on doing a thing on small towns. That got scrapped because once I moved the file over here, it quit working, so there must have got corrupted somehow or t'other. Just a little comedy here and there, and it pretty much matches the week I've had, or we've had. Most of you know we weren't in here last week just because I couldn't pull it all together after that Browns disappointment last week. This week we actually got a win, but I'm a little discouraged with it all.
Yeah, same here.
So it is what it is.
We'll get into that tomorrow. Since I know we talked before the show and there's two things that we couldn't do because they wouldn't go over, can we do the one topic I know we don't have the video ready, but I guess we can just open forum, throw it out there to everybody and get their opinion on it. Do students have a right to, and maybe this is just First Amendment, and yes, they do, but do they have a right to make social media accounts, telling
Yeah,
stories?
we can do that, but let's take and get this show warmed up first.
Okay.
Anyway, Justine, are you there? I wait till she walks off the camera to say something to her. The way things started out this week, last Saturday evening, I was on the,
Sorry.
I had start. This is going to concern you, so I want to make sure you hear it. I started out last Saturday evening with getting a phone call about a ham radio friend of mine and yours, and he was not doing too well, and they were asking for prayers for him. So, of course, being the president and everything that I am, I actually put the word out and asked, I had no sooner posted this stuff on it, and all of a sudden I get news that he had passed. And to be honest about it, I had some mixed emotions about it when it happened. The guy that passed was a good dude. He was very easily could have not liked me, let's put it that way. And he could have made my life a living hell at points. And instead of doing that, he took the initiative to take the other road, as they say. And for that, I always did appreciate him. He was an officer in my club, and he was also a trustee for 6 years. But anyway,
did I meet him at the
yeah, probably
thing? Okay.
Although I don't remember if he was there or not. His name was Dave Filing. He was Kate. I can't even think. My mind just went.
DPF.
Yeah, KDPF was his call sign. Not to be confused with KE8DPF, which was another guy altogether. But yeah, it was sad. We went to the viewing today, and it was kind of tough to see his wife in the shape she was in. She was nothing like I remember meeting her at other events and that. She was just pretty distraught, and it's my prayers and everything go out to her and her family. You know, that was a pretty tough loss for a lot of people. Dave was his obituary said that everybody described him as larger than life, and boy, if that doesn't fit that man, nothing does. He was larger than life itself in a lot of aspects. But anyway, we move on. You got to do what you got to do. This funeral home that we went to, I've been there, probably 12 times since 2006. That's a popular place. It is what it is. It's probably one of the better funeral homes in the Falls. Now, let's lighten things up a little bit. How are we going to do this? What time is it? We got quarter after 7:33. Got several topics I want to throw out. We can talk about what Erik brought up about do kids have the right to use social media to rebel against the administration. I have a thing on Thanksgiving that I want to run. I have a little levity of about 15 minutes of jokes. And I sat and laughed almost all the way through these things, so I know they're funny. And then, the heck else did I put on here?
The tech wrap up.
Oh yeah, we have a wrap up of technology in the for 2021. 2021. So what's it going to be first? And Flora, you're awful quiet over there.
Yeah, hi Flora. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you, Eric?
I think she's
I'm good.
I think she's tired too.
Yes, I am. I am very tired. I'm fighting.
It's been a long day.
I'm fighting sleep. I did not get my nap today.
Personally, I know what I would pick because I would like to hear what everybody else kind of has to say about that. But anybody else want to chime in and pick what topic you would want to start off with?
Dale, Justine, Melanie? Hello? Is this thing on? Hello?
Yeah.
We live.
Hola, hola.
Something controversial.
Okay.
I'm feeling it.
I think.
feel it. I love good debate. Throw me something.
You just love
Throw
the
me a
debate,
bone.
period. Don't matter if it's
Throw
good or
me a
not. You
bone.
just love the debate.
Yes, I do. It's fun. It's fun. As long as it's good, clean, it's
Yeah.
fun.
All right.
Okay.
So you want to introduce it, Eric?
Okay. So I was kind of going through my Facebook a few weeks ago, and I found a post from a student at a local high school in a local community Facebook group I'm in. And it was mostly advertising for this Instagram page that is mostly telling they have students like private message them their stories of sexual harassment or things like that that are not dealt with, or depression or like suicidal thoughts or whatever that they went to administration about, and they accuse administration of doing nothing about it or not doing enough to help them. In the case of sexual harassment, I've kind of looked at this Instagram page just to see what it was about, and there were multiple cases of where these people, they would go to administration, they would call whoever was doing it into the office, and then they would do nothing about it, and then the person would try to intimidate them as like they were in the same class or in the hallway or whatever. But the whole point is, do students have the right to create a social media page mostly to tell their stories? That mostly almost comes off as rebelling against the administration.
Okay, who wants to take the first shot? Should our guest Dale do this?
Absolutely, I will. Why not? We have the God-given right to make comments about our president, to make comments about people in government or anything else. then why can't you talk about, the people that are running the schools? If they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then let them have it. I mean, but nowadays, you get thrown out of a school board meeting because you're accused of being a
Domestic
terrorist
terrorist.
or whatnot. Yeah. But, that is our right to complain. And if you are having abuse and you're bringing it up and it's not being taken care of, you have the right to speak your mind.
But
Okay, in that same way, is it disrespectful for kids to do that? Because you're supposed to respect your elders, and if they do something wrong, technically you're not supposed to call them out on it. You're just supposed to deal with it. Is kind of what society says. So, is that disrespecting administration?
Absolutely not, because you can even go back to the Bible. The Bible says you're supposed to respect your mother and your father. But if your mother or your father are trying to do nasty sexual things to you, all of a sudden that's a problem. So if that same thing is going on in a school, you should be able to bring it up. I mean, you can respect your elders, but you also have to be respected at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
I have a little bit of a problem with that. And the problem is not so much that I don't agree with what you said there, but as far as the age limit, as far as if somebody 12 or 13 years old who's still wet behind the ears, blowing his nose in his mama's T-shirt and all that kind of stuff, wants to take and just have a hissy fit over something like that, how do they have the right, if it goes that far, to take and ruin somebody's reputation or whatever, or give a different viewpoint on what the administration is doing? How do they have the right to do that when they're not even old enough? It's the difference between the age of consent and becoming legal age is a whole different thing. If you're
if students are getting groped, which allegedly happened,
then they should go to the parents
cases
and let the parent bring it up. But as far as taking the law into their own hands, I never have understood or agreed with that. And that kind of stuff has went on even when I was in high school. Everybody thought, oh, we're coming of age now. We can go out and demonstrate, and we can walk this school out. And they did it on a couple of occasions. And it did give a message. But was that message listened to because they were kids? Was it actually legal for them to do that? I don't know. That's a gray area.
I mean, I remember, I forget if it was my senior year or it was within a couple years of me graduating, there was a walkout. I think it was 2 years after, because my sister was a freshman. Anyway, and I remember, I forget what it was they walked out over, but I think over half the school walked out, and it now it's gonna annoy me what it was, but because it was a big thing. I remember it actually made news, but personally, I think they do have the right to protest to a point, as long as it's in a respectful way.
But there again, Eric, what you're missing here is what the right avenue for that to happen is. Theoretically, back in my day, my parents were responsible for me, more or less, from the time I was until I was 18 years old. These kids aren't 18 years old. I don't know that they should have the right, so they say. In fact, if you look at Facebook's rules or any of the instant media's Instagram or doesn't it say in those rules that you're not supposed to even own an account until you're 18?
Yeah, but you
Then
can.
how if that's true, and if that's true to you know, I'm not talking that
That's
this
not
is the way it
correct.
is.
That is not correct. You can be 13 and have a Facebook account.
You can.
Yes.
Can you show me where that says that?
I don't have any idea where it.
Okay, then in the
Yeah,
words
but-
of Judge Judy, you don't have nothing.
Because I know a niece of mine. Now, she went out there before she was like, I don't know, 15, 16. But she made it look like on Facebook she was older, as far as in the birth date and stuff. So I thought too that a kid.
I truly believe it's 13.
Melanie, are you there? Melanie's got a son that is this age. Does your son own his own Facebook page?
Yeah,
Do you know?
but I'm looking it up. I believe it's 13, like Justine said.
Thank you.
But I'm gonna look it
but
up right
the
now.
key here is this 13 with a parent's signature and approval?
I'm
How do
looking
you
that
get a
up right now.
signature on a computer?
I mean, and
Well, that's the same way that I can file tax documents. You know, the parents has got to be there to
There's
be.
ways around
Yeah,
that too.
but I
though.
gotta say, when you sign your tax documents on the computer, have you ever seen how scribbly it looks?
Well,
Any
no,
kid
a
can
lot
do
of them
that,
don't
they
even
would
do that.
accept it.
A lot of them just have you type the stuff in. The
Well,
IRS
you
does
can-
that.
Number.
well, the problem is a kid can just make a account behind their parents' back, make it
But
private.
there
and-
again, we're getting off track here. What I'm saying is, does that child have a right to speak his mind and whatever if he's under 18 when he shouldn't even own an account on the place that he's at anyway?
Well,
I got
it is
something.
13, by the way. So technically, sorry to cut you off, Dale, but
Go right
it
ahead,
is
sir.
it is 13. So, if they're older, I don't know what Instagram is, and I'll look that up, because that's probably changed too. But it is 13 for Facebook. So technically, somebody 13, and that's middle school or middle school age, they can have an account. So like they have a right, if they're on it, they have a right to speak what they say, or not what they feel, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
And if in the case of if there's abuse or something that wasn't handled correctly, isn't that like whistleblower? Hello, it needs to be called attention to.
But there again, Justine, that's not the point. Does it have to be done online, or should this be handled by the parents who has an understanding of the world at over 18?
The problem is parents aren't involved. We've talked about this before.
Exactly.
There's a lot of the time.
Parents don't care.
Parents don't care.
I was gonna say, I know there's personally a situation of, now I mean this was years ago before Facebook, that, well, it was my sister. She went to her high school counselor. She went and nobody would listen. Nobody would listen.
It gets swept under the rug.
That's
so
exactly what happened.
the only way. Sometimes the only way is to call attention to it on social media. Unfortunately, that's the day and age we're living in.
And Instagram is 13 too. So technically these kids are of age to be on there. So
I wish
All
John,
right.
I wish Jon Brown was in here. I'd love his
I'm
opinion.
gonna chime in.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, unfortunately, I have to. God, I hate doing this, but
You got to agree with me.
I have to agree with you because I had to think back to some other stuff. Now, listen, I believe anybody should have the right to speak their mind. Okay. But I remember a fateful day that I was speaking to your grandson, and he was being a little disrespectful towards his mother, and he decided to remind me that he had equal rights under the law. And I kind of looked over and I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "You have no rights. You have nothing. You have absolutely no rights at all." So I understand where you're coming from, but I also kind of understand where the kids are coming from. If nobody is doing anything, that's fine. But unfortunately, with social media, you're opening up a whole can of worms where John Doe down the street can start making comments about Sally Sue, the teacher, that possibly never happened just because maybe she gave him an F on a test or something like that. And now, once again, you're ruining somebody's life.
Precisely.
So there has to be some type of control.
But at the same time,
the children have to have a way to speak their mind and open up. And unfortunately, social media does give you that right.
Like,
so it's kind of, it's a sticky wicket.
Oh yeah, and I agree, because there's a point, like, from what I've seen on that account, it's not any like attacks on teachers. It's like specifically talking about cases of things that weren't handled, like I said, harassment or I'm trying to think, or harassment, bullying, that harassment and bullying that handled right.
Now, on the other, let's look at another side of this. What you originally started out is talking about was the using social media to address what was going on with the administration. Now,
yeah, what the administration is not allegedly doing to help either protect these kids or, help these kids, which protect and help in that case.
That's a whole different sticky wicket as far as what the trend of this topic is. If there's an abuse going on, I'm all for, if your parents don't do something for it, then go to somebody who will. That doesn't mean you got to take it live on Facebook. That doesn't mean you got to go call into a podcast somewhere and say, I'm being abused and this and that and the other thing's happening and this is who's doing it. There are methods and stuff that need to take care of that.
What if they've exhausted all that?
And if they've exhausted all that, then they should go to police or whatever. That doesn't mean that, Facebook has turned into, the social media stuff has turned into a big soapbox anyway. We all know that. We all know the Russians and everybody else has tried to influence elections and everything else through any type of social media. Why do you have to open your dirty laundry on there too? Am I nuts for thinking that way?
I mean, I'm trying to put this in the nicest way.
I know I'm nuts, but that's beside the point.
Well, no, I mean, I guess it's just a generational difference. Like, sadly, the younger generation feels like they need to air their dirty laundry, where the older generation's like, why are you doing that? The world doesn't need to know. But if, if the law's not doing anything, or in this case, administration, and if administration's not going to do anything, the law's not going to do anything either, most of the time. So, but people feel like they need to get their story out there. The young people feel like they need to get their story out there if they have a story that needs to be told. They feel like they need to get it out there and You know, they're not gonna give. They don't have a platform like a podcast, you know, to call into or whatever. So they use social media to do that. Right or wrong, that's just how the quote unquote Facebook generation does things.
You have to remember here also, as you're talking about the Facebook generation. Now you get back into, I can't remember what you call them. But anyways, you're talking about younger folks. Like when I went to school, Joe Schmo behind me used to break my pencil every day. He'd say, "Hey Dale, can I do this?" Or he'd flick me in the back of the ear, or he'd do this, or he'd do something like that to me. And mind you, the same individual turned out to be one of my best friends I've ever had. But all these things went on. Now, back then, I called that going to school.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's called I've been bullied. There's a big difference. Now, if you have something major, sure, you need to take care of that. But this, you know, you brought up the word bullying. This whole bullying thing, half the time, is nonsense. It's just kids being kids. I mean,
it's bull,
God,
all right.
I'm tormented.
I mean,
but, you know
just
what?
to give you,
I live
just
a
to
perfect life.
give you an idea, Dale, I'm in my mid-20s, so I'm of the younger generation, so I can kind of give you the insight. And I agree with what you're saying, with what bullying was or is now isn't what it used to be. You know, people are more sensitive. I feel like the younger generation is more sensitive than the older generation. Like, stuff bothers us way more than the older generations.
Then let me
before
ask
us.
you why. Why does it bother? Why do these stupid little things that idiot people that mean nothing do? Why does that bother you? Now, mind you, if it causes harm to you, or, you know, I mean, if you're injured, or, you know, I mean, if you're getting beat up or something like that, hey, that's bullying. But you know what? I've been picked on every day of my life for almost 50 years now. And you know what? I don't care. I mean, someone else's opinion of me doesn't bother me. I could care less if anybody listening right now likes me. It doesn't matter.
The problem is, and you kind of hit it right on the head. People care. They want to, and there's people pleasers in every generation, but I feel like there's more people pleasers in the younger generation who just want everybody to like them. And when one person says something negative about them, they think everybody thinks that.
So you're basically talking about kind of like how you have a lot of individuals out there that base their life and their self-worth on the amount of likes that they get on a Facebook post that they put up.
Yeah.
Okay, it's total horseshoe. That's not the real world. That's not life. It's Facebook. And who cares what people that make comments on Facebook and other places, they're only doing it because they don't have the gall to say it directly to you. See, back in the day, people had the gall to say it directly to you.
And anybody that is an amateur radio operator knows this. You can be awfully big behind a microphone. You can be awfully big behind a keyboard. But when you're in person and you got to take and fess up for that, it's a whole different story.
Amen.
And the sad thing is, there's in cases like where there's bullying, the cyberbullying, some of these cases, parents are doing it. Like, it's not just kids. Like, we have in that case, like, where that needs to be dealt with, there's a problem with that. But getting back to the whole topic, like, everybody, young generation that is, does find their value in what other people think or other people say. I mean, and sometimes I'll admit, as a younger generation kind of person, I've fallen into that too. And it's hard once you get yourself into that to get yourself out of that mentality wise. Like, it is. When you how do I want to put it? Let's just move on. Anybody else have anything to say? Because I'm stumbling.
Yes, the younger generation needs to have a little bit more of a backbone. Like I said, if somebody is doing something horrible to you, amen, speak your mind, make sure that situation gets dealt with. But I think a lot of times, it's, people get, excuse my terminology, but butthurt because they, oh gosh, he called me a goofball. I don't like that. Well,
okay.
Well, you are one.
Big deal.
It's,
you got called a goofball.
Well, it's political correctness too. Not to get all political, but it's all political correctness in this world too. But, which I find political correctness ridiculous in itself. But people need to learn to a point, defend themselves too, and not have somebody else defend for them.
And I got to say something about political correctness. The political correctness that you guys understand is not the world that I grew up in.
Because you're old.
If somebody would have slandered my president, like I've seen slandered over the last 20 years, you would have been arrested for treason.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to wonder what happened.
And that goes both ways.
I'm not saying it. This is just one direction. This is, I've seen this for, the last 4 presidents now. Clear back past or before Obama, before Bush won. If you were to slander, it wasn't so bad in the Bush years, but after Bush, man, and that, unfortunately, that's another thing about social media that can come up here. If it wasn't for social media, you wouldn't see 90% of this stuff, because that's where it's all taking place. And the thing that bothers me about this whole situation is it may not be anybody in the United States that's doing it. Don't get me wrong. I should say that's instigating some of it. The simple fact of it is, a lot of this could be instigated outside of the U.S.
Quite possible.
Yeah. But, I mean, political correctness to a point is good, but I feel like it's way overdone. Like, okay, using our former president as an example, a lot of the stuff he said was, we all know where I kind of lean because I've shared that.
What side you're on, Eric?
Yeah. Yeah. But, like, I feel like a lot of the stuff he said was right, and where that is stuff that should have been said, but maybe not by a president, and especially not by a president on social media. There was his problem. Well, and to some people, he had many problems. But social media was
Now,
one
Patrick,
of his
remember,
biggest
you're
problems.
the one that started down this road.
Yeah, I know. Today I just feel like goading Pat into stuff.
Yeah, Eric.
Let's not, because it won't end pretty.
Yes,
change the
yes,
subject.
please, let's not and say we did.
Yeah, you know what's happened the last time we talked politics on this
Wait,
show.
I'm not John. Remember, like,
Well,
no
yeah,
offense
well,
to
you
him.
might not be
I'm
John.
not gonna like overdo it. Just enough to get Pat going, but
No,
You've
we
already
don't need to
overdone
get
it.
Pat going. Thanks, Eric. I have to live with him. Thank you very much. And it is Thanksgiving
Justine,
week,
be
so.
quiet.
Huh?
No,
What's
Be
that?
quiet,
he
Justine.
told me to be
Let
quiet.
the man speak.
No.
Let him speak the word.
Justine, do you want to report your husband being mean to you? We can do it here on the podcast.
Let me put it all
He'll
over
get
social
taken
media.
care of.
That was good, dear.
Thank you, thank you.
That really was. That was pretty good. Of course, they
What?
can report you sometimes, too. Sometimes you get a little silly on here, too.
What? You're the one that ought to be reported.
Oh. Yeah, right. Oh, God. Whatever.
People just need to realize, okay, there's to an extent, Facebook is good to get your, if there's abuse or whatever, something didn't get handled right, get your story out there. If it's a last resort.
Exactly. I agree with
Other
that.
than that, Facebook is a joke.
Amen.
Amen.
Facebook is a joke.
But if it wasn't for Facebook, we wouldn't be here.
true. That is.
Well, now, is it Facebook or the internet?
Well, social media. That's
Yeah.
where all our
Oh,
podcasts
yeah,
are.
oh, that's true.
And we do appreciate
Well,
everybody that listens, you know. I wish we could do better. We have been doing somewhat better, but I wish we could have more. Always. I'd like to have
Always.
2,000 or 3,000 listeners a week to the podcast.
Only Pat would understand, but you know, you could go back to the the news groups, and you could get your information that way, or whatever else you might want to get a hold of.
Well, that's what you got
It's the-
Amazon and
It's the instant gratification now.
these podcast
Like-
places are actually similar to the news groups or what they used to be.
Oh no, they aren't.
Oh yeah, to a point. You can find about any podcast if you go to any of them. Amazon, look, they got millions of podcasts on there. You go to Spreaker, you go to Apple. You know, there's a podcast for every subject and then some. And that's how the news groups started out. And then they started into the file stuff, and then it went all porn and viruses and all that crap. Yeah, we lived
Well, I
through
mean,
that.
And unfortunately, if we want to talk just news, it feels like especially for the non Cleveland or Akron, there's really no good outlets to get your news.
Oh, don't get me started on this.
Eric,
Huh?
Eric.
You're
Well, no,
Digging that
hold
hole
on.
today, Eric.
Wait, no. let me clarify what I'm saying before we go. I'm not talking like the CNNs or any of that. I'm specifically talking like local news, like local newspaper used to be a good thing. When you get like
No,
news,
that's not even local.
You can thank
I know.
the internet for that.
That's what I'm saying now, Justine, is that it's not even local. It's all regional now, and so you don't get your local police blotter or like daily stories if unless one of the local stations, Cleveland news stations, pick up a robbery or something, you don't get the minor stories. You get, the big stories if a local station wants to pick up. But unless that, you don't know what's going on in your town.
I have
So
completely
you
changed.
get what the particular radio station wants you to see or hear that particular day. Is all it is.
I have completely changed my ideas on all this stuff after I retired. As you all know, I retired August 6th. And I actually started watching TV. For the first time pretty much ever. I would catch shows here and there, but during the shows I would mute the commercials, and that'd be the end of it. Well, I actually started late in bed a couple mornings and started counting the amount of commercials, the 15 and 30-second commercials that were on a local news program. And when it comes down to it, there's more commercials than there is news. I counted as many on this particular station that we watch all the time. I counted as many as 15-second commercials.
And
that's 15 minutes of commercials. That's what, 7 to 8, almost 8 minutes of commercials, and 5 minutes of news. They'd come on, talk about the weather for a couple minutes, talk about what was new, what was in the news, and all that. Back to the commercials.
I've noticed something, and it took me years to notice this, but I've noticed with a couple different radio stations, they'll consistently always go off for their top of the hour commercial break at 6 till the hour, and then not come back to whatever show they're doing till about
1 or 2 after.
Yeah, 1 or 2 after. So the rest of that is 7 to 8 minute block of just commercials. That's ridiculous.
Now, do you think I had to do that here?
No,
Would that get me more? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's what somebody that is on the air for 4, 5, 6 hours straight can have a pee break.
True.
You got to let them pee, get a cup of coffee to kind of make sure that, they ain't losing their damn voice.
And I'll tell you what, these stations with all that,
a little bit of slack, but
these stations with all that aren't losing any money.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't tell me that a station like Fox or 19 or whatever is losing. I'd never believe you.
Or MSNBC, CNN.
Yep, any of them.
Yep.
But when we get into when we do our history of radio segment, and that I think we might do next week, I had watched a documentary on how corporately controlled these radio stations specifically are, to the point you're gonna play this song at this time every day. And I had noticed that years before I watched this documentary, that there was this one song that would play when I was in school for 6 months straight at 2:53 every day. And 2:53 afternoon every day.
You can bet that
when
was
I was on the
sponsored.
school bus.
There's a song called Billy Don't Be a Hero that you would hear a couple of times an hour, or something. Well, you'd hear it once every hour or so. But it came down to the point where it was every day at the same time. And then immediately following that, you'd hear a commercial for the disabled veterans, or Be All That You Could Be. That's what they call payola. And
well, don't you guys understand that that's the whole point?
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, here we go.
But also,
here we go
John
down the rabbit
jumps
hole.
in, because this is going to be interesting now.
Oh, here we go down the rabbit
jumped in.
hole.
But,
welcome, John. We have missed
hello.
you.
But even with radio, specifically radio stations and the news side of things, severely cut back on their news staff. You know, they'll have one person doing news for like 3 different markets. Like, I know for one of the big companies locally, they have Cleveland. The one person does Cleveland, Youngstown, and Akron. Okay, why can't they have 3 different people? Well, no, they just want to save money. Well, that's...
The whole point of having a station is to sell commercials and make money.
Well, yeah, no, I know that. I'm not, like...
I'm just saying.
That's not that way here. Mine's to entertain people.
Well, that's true.
And
But
play music that they want to hear.
This isn't a money-making enterprise where, you know, the Fox 8 and Channel 19 and all those, you know, they're there to make their shareholders money. And so, you know, that's what it's about, commercials, man. And I do agree with you, though. I've been listening in for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. I probably jumped in right around 8. Anyways, I do agree with you. Sometimes it's like you sit there, you listen to 10 minutes of commercials, and then, you know, 5 minutes of news, and then back to 10 minutes of commercials. It is kind of annoying.
Yeah. I mean...
But, by the way, this particular channel we were on right now, if the individual who owned this particular radio station, not naming any names, could sell commercials and make money off of it, right now...
I'm going to state right here and right now.
The shit would break, and we'd be learning about Tostitos or Cinnamon Toast Crunch or something.
Yeah.
Because there'd be a commercial.
I will tell you right here and right now, I would never run a block of 7.5 or 8 minute commercials. That's not what people. That's not what people tune into this station for.
No.
If and when I did,
commercials, you would.
They would be scattered all the way through the thing, and the only place that, as far as podcasting goes, that's a whole different story there too. If you listen to any commercialized podcasts, you get a commercial at the beginning, you get a commercial at the end, and maybe if you're lucky, you hear one in the middle. They'll take a 2 or 3 minute break and have one commercial, and whatever, they'll play a bit or whatever, and then go back to the podcast. That's the way that stuff, for the most part, is, and it's been that way since I got into podcasting.
And another difference between regular stations and this specific outlet we're on, you don't mind playing local music, like local bands, because
I've got,
you know,
right now I think I've got 6 tunes here, one being a friend of Dave Canyon's, that's Going for a Drive. That's the theme song he used to use. I have another one that he sent me. I've got a couple more that I want to put in that has been referred to me. You know, I don't mind playing local stuff as long as the way I look at this is I don't mind playing it as long as my licensing will pay them for me playing it. That's it in a nutshell. If it's something.
But the question is, if somebody would want to run a commercial on your station, would you run it if they were paying you for it?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, now let's say you have 8,000 listeners.
But if they tell me...
And you had more people approaching you for commercials, would you run more commercials?
When I got to 3 or 4 minutes an hour, no, then we'd start splitting it up. The way that I have if you look at the station webpage, there's actually an ad, or if you want to run ads on there and become part of our team, you know, there's a place for that, and I state very plainly what I will do for them. There's 3 different stages. I will run your commercial. If you want it on a show, I'll run it on the show. If you want it on the station itself, we'll play it once every other hour. As far as once an hour, it would be, if it's like it is now, it wouldn't be that much. But I'm not going to do every 15-minute commercials for somebody. I don't care how much they're paying. People aren't listening to that stuff, and they're not here to listen to it. The way I look at it, I've got a pretty good mix of jingles and that play during the hour anyway, and it breaks the music up. A commercial here and there ain't gonna hurt nothing. I actually just started running another promotion for our Tuesday night show here, and that comes on every other hour at the halfway point, halfway over the hour.
Okay, but obviously you would do it,
And
so you don't frown upon it. It's just you have to remember that, when you're looking at, I'm not sure what your listener count is right now, but I just threw out a number of 8,000. But most of these channels that we're talking about have millions of listeners, and that's
not
why
on the internet. They
all this
don't.
stuff out, because it's coin in the pocket, and that's exactly what the other gentleman was saying. It's at the end of the day, if you're running a business, it's all about the Benjamins. If you're, trying to have a good time as what you're doing, you're not as concerned about that. And yeah, if you can make an extra nickel along the way, sure, absolutely, you're going to make that nickel. I mean, why not?
I got no problem
You
with
can
that.
make a nickel and not sacrifice your beliefs. But if you're a corporation, now that's why these things are going on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it was right now as it sits, if somebody came to me and say, I want to run commercials on your station every hour, where do you want them? But if they come and say, we'd really like a couple of times an hour or 3-4 times an hour, I am not going to be able to do that because I don't want to bore my listeners. I know what my market is,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the thing about being an owner like this. You have
like
to know your market.
Any internet radio station probably wouldn't do that. Do the 3 or 4 times an hour.
When I was running commercials on here, they made me run 4 minutes of commercials every hour to get $20 off my feed, off my
Oh, hell no.
what do you call it, feed. I had to run 4 minutes, and I'd run 2 at the top of the hour and 2 at the bottom.
Licensing fee.
Well, yeah, the licensing place is what did it. But at one point I got tired of their commercials. I got tired of hearing the stuff about politicians and the stuff about getting your, brushing your teeth and the kid.
Yeah.
There was a guy talking to his kid and telling his kid he was a good boy, and I got tired of all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me decide to move away from that, because I thought that was chasing off people. If it was chasing me away, it was chasing off people, and I don't want to do that. I want people to listen to this thing.
Commercials. I know. I used to.
Yeah, Eric, you've got experience with that.
For those who don't know, I used to run my own station, so I know exactly what Pat is talking about because I experienced that too.
The things that I've learned in the 3 years that I've been running this place is a remarkable amount of stuff. I've learned about marketing. I've learned about how to attract people. I've learned about what turns them on and what turns them off. And the commercial stuff really does. People come to internet radio to get away from the commercials.
And I know what killed me was my decision to go syndicated. That really killed me because I would have to run the commercials that they would play. I couldn't run my own promos or commercials.
That's why I don't syndicate anything here. If I can't make it on, if it came down to syndicating and saying I'm going to syndicate this program, but it's going to have a bunch of commercials in it, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't happen.
I mean,
I have no use for it.
I was broadcasting I know you know, Pat, but I was broadcasting a national sports network, and that one, it was a really not known sports network, and then it was I was paying $100 out of pocket every month. I didn't really think about seeing if I could charge them to for airtime. It was just their fee to use their feed for for a month, and I think I did it for like 6 months. I'm like, I'm not doing this. This isn't drawing listeners, but
it's killing them.
Yeah.
The other things that I found out in my infinite time here is that if you run a podcast, what music listeners you got are going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And when you run a podcast, if you don't do it live, it's not going to attract anything because they can get it right off the internet. That same podcast they can get right off the net. And that's why I've decided not to run repeats or anything of the shows. We run 3 live shows here, and it doesn't attract 100 people. I don't expect
4.
It to. We get 1 or 2, 3, whatever.
We run 4 shows.
The sports shows and the stuff that we do here, they get 3, 4, 5 listeners sometimes on the station feed itself. It gets a lot more on Facebook and the social media groups, but I don't expect it to do that well.
I mean, it would be nice if the social media would bring more listeners to the station, but
Well, you have to. The other thing that I found out here is you have to really pump it. If I take, have you seen us in any of the Facebook groups? I've been posting those pictures, and all I do is put the picture up, and it says at crookedriver.com.
Yeah.
That is doing amazing. That brought me from 0 listeners at one time an hour up to 4 or 5. I've had as much as I think I've had as many as 6 listeners on here at a time.
I mean, I think
Now, mind you,
I told you have to be. The more active you are on social media, the better off you are.
Let me clarify that a little bit. It may not seem like that's, but your average radio station on the internet does not get 100 listeners an hour. You really got to do well in order to do that. Right now, we sit at about 800 people that listen to us. I have roughly, I think I looked the other day, I had 258 listeners this month. And, the software that I got tracks, and we were just over 800 listeners. That's station listeners and to listen to the feeds and that. What we get off of social media and whatever, that's probably part of that. But when it all comes down to it, you can't expect you're going to get 1,000 people. It's not going to happen.
And if you do, or if you say you do, you're lying. Because I had a guy that wanted to buy my LLC and own my station, and he's like, I could grow your station. I have over 4,000 listeners. I'm like, oh, yeah, the hell you do.
Show me your station records.
Yeah. And are you legally broadcasting? Because there's no way you get 4,000 listeners.
You also have to remember that, you talk about social media and get people to listen to radio stations, but if they're spending too much time on social media crying about getting bullied or butthurt from a comment somebody made, you're not going to be listening to an internet radio station off the Facebook.
The problem is people don't want to give internet. People don't know what internet radio is really, because, I mean, we're doing a podcast on internet radio, but internet radio is, and we've talked about this on the air, is a little different than podcasting in the way of Crooked River is not a 24/7 podcast. It's a 24/7
radio station that runs podcasts.
Station that thank you. And that's what I try to explain to people, and I think people kind of pick up on that, but it took me a lot of explaining for people, and some people just don't want to give us a try. You know?
If you find somebody older that is in the MTV generation, we're doing now what MTV used to do.
All right.
We're doing now what MTV, excuse me, used to do. MTV used to run completely music, and then after the music, it was and they'd go into different shows and that. And that's pretty much what we do here. Anyway, let's it's 8:30. Jeez.
Wow, that was a really good topic. That carried like most of the show.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
Dale, you gonna be able to hang in, or?
Yeah, I gotta go get a beer, but yeah, I'll hang in.
Well, hopefully.
You got something for me? You got some controversy?
We're gonna.
Something to get me going?
I got some dirty jokes for you.
Oh, I like their jokes.
Maybe we'll run
Big
some.
fell in the mud.
We'll run some of them at a time. I want to segue into the top tech for the last part of the year.
I don't think Dad caught that.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if he caught it or he just ignored
What?
it.
I probably just ignored it.
What?
The
Your
pig
dirty
fell in the
jokes?
mud.
Well,
Oh, I
big
caught
fell in the
that,
mud.
yeah.
That's a dirty joke.
Yeah.
Duh.
Came out and took a bath. That's a clean joke.
Yeah.
Youngins.
What three words in the English language? All three small words describe the word small.
Little.
No, small words, 2 or 3 letter words. There's three words that I got in mind that describe the word small.
What is that, like a sentence?
Wee.
Or 3 individual words?
No, it's three
Yeah,
individual.
Melody said wee.
3 individual words.
Okay.
Is it in?
Oh dear.
Oh, damn. Oh.
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 I didn't think we were this
Okay.
kind of show.
Touche.
Bad.
Woo.
What? I'm so confused.
What did you?
Wow.
Oh, it's okay. I was wondering if John was still here.
I was saying I didn't think we were that kind of show, but hey.
Yeah.
If anybody can put it in the chat, because I'm a little confused.
So, I got a question for you guys. Would you put a microchip in your hand to
No.
avoid carrying keys around?
No.
No.
To what?
To avoid carrying keys around.
No.
I saw this interesting article where they literally can implant, they say it's the future, a microchip, like just kind of by your thumb, but on the back, like on the back, not on your palm, but on the back side of your hand. And what it does is there's like receivers that you can put like in door locks or in your car or whatever, where all you got to do is put your hand up to the receiver and it'll unlock whatever it is.
How much of your personal privacy are you wanting to give away by doing that?
Yeah.
How does that get rid of your personal privacy?
Because anybody can scan it.
Because anybody can scan it and the government can track you?
That's like
It's not a tracking device.
That's like putting tracking chips
That's
in
a
you.
microchip, though. You can
You
track
don't know what
a
it's doing.
microchip.
You have no
It's
idea what
not-
it's doing.
I know that, I'm a little weary of it too. But there's no way it can track you. It's the same technology that's in your key fob.
They're talking about doing that with, so you don't have to carry credit cards in a way.
Well, yeah, that's the one that makes me nervous. I'm talking about the one that literally it's like an RFID type thing where it's a radio frequency.
You being around radio as much as you have been should know what RFID does. That's not the only thing they put in that stuff. You have no idea what they put in it.
It's not powerful enough to go that far.
It doesn't have to be.
Well, you don't know how powerful it is. Like, they might say it's not powerful enough, but they could be just giving you a line of crap so you can buy into it, and then eventually it is that strong.
What about your cell phone?
That's
I mean,
I think
that's
your
true.
cell phone's 10 times more damaging than that little chip ever could be. I'd be more afraid of getting it implanted and then like causing like hand cancer or something from these radio frequencies being inside your muscle tissue. I'd be more afraid of that.
That's another thing to consider too. I mean, how many studies? It depends on what frequencies the stuff is on.
Yeah.
If you're running VHF
again,
or UHF,
you got a push button start in your car?
Yeah. Yep.
Same tech, man.
But I don't
Literally
carry
the
that thing
same
on
tech.
me all the time.
You put it in your pocket? Put your phone in your pocket?
Yeah. But it's not on me all the
about,
time. It sits here on the charger.
It's one of those things where I think I'd be more worried about the medical repercussions versus, someone losing my privacy. I think it'd be kind of neat, though, just being able to put your hand on the doorknob and it unlocks.
Well, they can do that kind of stuff without the chips in your fingers. Chrysler's had that technology for years. In fact, Flora used to have the Journey had that. You touch the door handle, as long as you had the key fob in your hand, you touch the door handle,
Exactly.
it unlocked.
I forgot.
It's the same concept. It's the same technology, okay? But instead of you carrying around that key fob, it's in your thumb.
But again,
Think about it.
but with that, what health, and I think that's the biggest thing, what health issues could that cause? Having radio waves, yeah, I get your whole cell phone thing example, but that's not inserted actually in your bloodstream, and technically, that having a chip surgically put in you will be inserting radio waves into your bloodstream.
And your muscle tissue and your bones. Yep.
It's not going to be.
Yeah.
It's not going to be powerful enough to do anything with that. You're probably talking a couple hundred milliwatts. That ain't nothing.
I don't care how many milliwatts it is. You ain't shoving nothing into me.
Yeah.
I'm already fighting the damn COVID shot that I'm going to have to take. You think you're going to shove some radio horse stew into me?
We're not.
Why do you have to get it?
Because I just got like a big promotion and they're paying me a whole lot of money. And then there's a new company taking over that says that we have to have COVID shots. And unfortunately, my wife and my family are more important than my personal opinion about the COVID shot. So I'm taking one for the team. As much as I hate to do it, I am.
Which one are you going to get?
I knew it was coming with my company. They still have not mandated it, but they did say, they released over the summer that health insurance was going to be more expensive for those who didn't have the shot. But, so like this year,
whoever doesn't have the shot, they pay an extra, I think it's like $50 or $75 more a month.
I feel like that's kind of holding you hostage, though. Like, if you don't get this, then we're gonna punish you.
I better grab a hold of the table here.
So I ended up getting it because I have a feeling eventually our wonderful president was going to pull some kind of mandate, which I know it got shot down, but it's not over yet.
No.
So we'll just have to see what happens there.
How they do this is such an abuse of the freedoms that you have every day. How can they take a mandate, which is not a law, it's a rule that they want everybody to follow? How can you take and do that without it being enacted as a law? How can
Did you know the Emancipation Proclamation was a mandate?
But it eventually turned into law.
That is true, but I'm just saying.
And that's not
what
saying
happened.
what's
The
going to happen
Emancipation
here.
Proclamation
This is a
was
flipping mandate. It's not a. It's a rule brought up
What
by
do they call
somebody.
that? What do they call the presidential? What is that? What do they call
Presidential
those,
orders.
Pat? Yeah. That's what the Emancipation Proclamation was. Think about it.
Executive order.
Well,
Executive order. That's the word. There you go, Eric.
You have the point of like you're saying. Originally, President Biden he spoke up that day and he said that what he was doing was making sure any company over 100 people, blah 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 blah, we're going to have to get the shots. So then people started doing it. Now, it's actually, as stupid as the guy is, that was actually brilliant. Because
It
what
was
happened
because a bunch of people rushed out and
people
got it.
started doing it because, oh, the president said you have to do it, even though you don't have to do it. But now that you're a private business, if you require your employees to do that, I have a choice to work for the company I'm working for, or I have a choice to not work for that company. So either I get the shot or I don't. Even though it's not a law, I'm still stuck that I have to get that shot if I want to continue to have the job that I have. And that's where they're catching
Again,
people.
like I said,
Everybody started following along because we're a bunch of followers in this country,
Lemmings.
and nobody's got the gall to say, hey, what the problem is.
We're lemmings.
but like I was saying earlier, isn't it like how ethical is that for a business to be like, unless you get this, I get if it's a hospital or medical facility, or old age home, but how ethical is it for a company to say, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what, you have to get this or you're out the door? How ethical is that?
Have you noticed that the news that we were talking about earlier isn't driving down your throat the amount of people that have COVID right now down your throats like there were? Why? Because there probably aren't that many. It's all.
Oh, but the numbers are up over the last 6 months.
Oh, but
But
I haven't
but
heard
as
anything.
opposed to a year ago,
I
they've
can't
dropped.
tell you- I can't tell you the last time I heard something about COVID.
You haven't watched the news lately. They stuff
Well,
that
I
stuff
don't-
down.
well, okay.
They
Yeah,
cram
I
that
don't
stuff
watch
down
the
your
news.
throat every day.
True.
I mean, it's
And
just.
there was times like when I had a relative pass away not because of COVID, and we had to fight to make sure. And I've heard multiple other people who went through the same thing to make sure they didn't mark this person's death as a COVID death, because every COVID death, the hospitals get more money. So I'm not doubting the legitimacy of COVID, but what I am saying is was it a money grab? A little bit.
Oh, exactly. If I die of a heart attack, but I have COVID, I died of a heart attack. I didn't die of COVID.
Not according to what they'd put on your death certificate.
Exactly.
It was
That's
it
the
would have
problem.
been a COVID-related heart attack.
And how many people last year that had the flu got marked up that they actually had COVID?
There
when
you
all
go.
they had was the flu.
There you go.
Because notice how they didn't talk about, usually every year they force the flu shot down your throat or make a big deal about the flu. But the flu kind of disappeared all of a sudden last year because of COVID. I don't see that being possible. I think, again, that the flu was considered COVID last year, and that's why the numbers were where they were.
You know that
exactly what I was saying.
Okay.
There are so many different viruses out there that have exactly the same symptoms as COVID. Exactly the same. It's crazy. So they could be dying of that.
Do you know that a third of this country hasn't had the COVID shot yet? None. Period. 1/3. I saw that statistic the other day. So that's 1/3 of the population that doesn't believe what's going on and is screwing a mandate.
Here's my thing. Why is it being driven down everybody's throat so bad?
Look at my screen, Dale. It's that right there.
I can't,
Money.
It's that right there. It's the mean green.
Amen.
And you can
Amen.
take that to the bank. Because the government is paying these big ass pharmaceuticals all kinds of money to vaccinate everybody. And they're going after every penny they can get. And that's why this bullshit with this booster is getting so important now too. They not only want you 1 time and 2 times, but they want you 3.
Well, my question is, what is our government hiding from us? Because they were able to produce this vaccination pretty quick, but
I have said
they've been trying to do research for 40, 50 years on a cure for cancer. There is no way they don't have anything, but it's not that they don't have anything, it's that they just don't have a way to make money off of it. So that's why nothing's coming out and so many people are dying of cancer, because our government is greedy and just doesn't know how to make money off of something that they have under wraps and have had for many years.
And this country's been doing that for ages and ages. I can tell you a story of actually 2 stories. One is of a carburetor for a Chrysler car that came out that was giving that car 75 miles to a gallon. You never heard about it because the big 3 bought the damn thing and squished it. They didn't want that much mileage coming out of cars, and neither did the fuel industry. There's another story of a motor that, a refrigerator motor that they came out with that used almost no energy. It used 1% of the energy any other motor used. Did you ever hear about that? No, because Westinghouse and GE bought them. They bought them out and they squished it, and that's it. And this is why I don't trust a lot of the government. You got to also consider this bull crap. I've said from the very beginning, there is more behind this COVID than anybody knows. There's tons.
Other than our government funding it,
there is more to it than that, Eric. I don't know if it's population control or what, but there is more to this than meets the eye. I've said that, and I've said that, and I've said that till I'm blue in the face.
There's documentation, and don't remember where the person that told me said they found this, but there's documentation saying that Fauci and the CDC funded China to create a virus back in 2017. Happened that the virus came out and, was first known about in 19, but that the government CDC funded China to create a virus for, I think, as you said, population control.
What do you think of population control, Dale? What do you think of that?
Well, I think of population control.
What do you think of the theory?
A possibility. That could be. That's, when you have a vaccination that comes up that people are, the government is, okay, think of polio, think of the flu, think of any of these other viruses that have come out. Have you ever had the government pushing a vaccine as hard as they are now?
Never.
And you wonder why individuals don't want to take it. It's almost like, well, what else did you put in there? And then it's like, oh, well, hey, we want you to get this booster too, like you brought up. I don't trust it.
But
I really don't. But, the lasting side effects is kind of what I'm worried about. But fortunately, I've hit an age right now where that's why, I'm willing to take it for the job, is because, well, I ain't going to live that much longer anyways. So what the hell difference does it make? But I do want to go on record as stating during this conversation, Mr. Pat, you are speaking very conservatively, and it is sounding very wonderful.
I always say Pat is a dino.
I just want to tip my hat to you for
Pat
sounding
is a
like
dino,
a Republican
man.
for a minute.
Pat is a Democrat in name only. Pat, in my mind, is a Republican who identifies as a Democrat because he doesn't like Trump and Bush.
Well, I don't like Trump or Bush. But if they came out with
Bush.
If they came out with something I could stand, it'd be a different story.
Okay.
What about DeSantis? You like DeSantis?
Who?
Ron DeSantis, the Florida governor.
I don't know much about him.
Just the shit
You better
I
start
don't,
learning about him, 'cause
when it comes to politics, when it comes to the politics stuff, I don't follow either party. I don't care about either party. I have my own opinions, and that's what I state most of the time.
Which are very democratic.
Not necessarily. You just told me my opinions were Republican, and a lot of them are that way. A lot of them aren't.
Okay, well, for Democrats then.
You mentioned a certain president. There was stuff about that certain president that I won't name that I thought was that they were good policies. First couple of years of them was great.
I didn't mention no presidents at all.
But the first couple of years of it was great. After that, it sucked.
Okay, so, and with the whole vaccine and booster thing, what's it say about the booster that they already want people to get the booster who haven't had the vaccine for more or less than, yeah, exactly.
I don't think money's the whole thing. I really don't.
Is it saying that the first dose, or especially with Pfizer and Moderna, where you had to get the 2 shots, which, by the way, I think that's ridiculous, because getting the 2 shots so close, that's not going to be effective. That's either they didn't make the first one that strong enough, or it's going to end up being too strong, getting it too close. And I think that's why people were getting sick and having reactions to it after the second dose, because people, the doses were too close. And now they want you to get a third one, months later.
They're never going to get everybody to take that thing.
I know.
Not when they've got a
but
third of the
again,
population.
But what's that saying? My point is, what's that saying about the effectiveness of the first two?
Exactly. Exactly. You said the first two were the cure-all, end-all. And if you got this, the whole world would be great and everything would be perfect.
Everything would be behind us a year later.
Hey, I want you to get a little baby shot later. Well, you know what? My boss at work and another group of people, they all, because we had I work in healthcare.
Yeah.
So they had booster people come in to give everybody booster shots. My boss was tore up from the floor up for at least 4 to 5 days after she took that booster. Now, but if everything was so great and grand that, we got the cure-all, end-all of the first two shots, then why do I need to take the new one?
Okay, and
Well,
I
there's
understand.
no point.
If it's like the flu shot, or if they were saying it's like the flu shot, and you needed it every year, I get that. But you need it so close together, especially after getting the two with either Pfizer or Moderna. Like, what's the point? Why? You could be repeating myself, but why would I get this booster this quick when I could probably wait? Personally, I won't get the booster. I wish I didn't get the shot in the first place. Why do they want us getting it so close? Like, just, again, to reiterate for anybody just tuning in right at the second, why do they want us to get the booster so close to getting the shot?
Almighty dollar.
You got that right. There was mention.
That's the only way to explain it.
The insurance companies can make their money off of us.
But the thing is, the first dose was free, or the first round, whether you got the Johnson & Johnson, which was one shot, or the second, or Moderna or Pfizer that had the two. Weren't those free? Like,
yeah,
you didn't pay out of pocket.
The booster's free
you have
too.
to now pay. Is the booster now a
No, I believe it's still
pocket?
free, but I'm saying it's big money for big pharma.
But if it's free, how are they getting money off of it?
Somebody's got to.
The government's paying for it.
Government.
The government's paying
That's
for that.
the scary thing. The government is paying for you to get shots.
Yep.
The government is paying for you to get shots. And they want you. And they will do anything they can do to force you to get that shot. And they're paying
For the
money
pharmaceutical companies.
And this, my friends, is why I don't trust it. There is so much behind that. Nobody knows. I did want to make mention of the, you said something about the polio shot. I was alive for that. I was actually, that polio shot came out in 58, I believe, and I had it in 1959. And I remember going to get it, and, of course, things were simpler then as far as the way life was. But you never heard the kind of...
Pat rode his horse in the town.
You never heard the kind of rhetoric that you hear now for this thing that's going... You can't turn the damn news on without hearing the COVID totals, or they want the booster this, the booster that, the booster the other thing, or they approved the booster, or they didn't approve the booster, or somebody approved the booster over here, or who flipping cares?
Exactly. Why are you shoving it down my throat?
Because they think we're lemmings, Dale. Because they think we are lemmings. We're going to take we're going to talk about this on TV. Oh, man, I saw that on TV the other day. I got to go get that. That's bull crap. I'm not a lemming.
You sound like Ronnie Reagan right now.
I'm not a lemming. Never have been, never will be.
You sound like Ronnie Reagan right now.
Well.
The last thing you ever want to hear is, we're the government and we're here to help you.
Well.
And like I just said, it's not helping. It's inserting. It's fear mongering. That's what the media is doing. They're trying to incite. Yes, they're trying to. At the beginning they were trying to inform us, but as this virus went on, the government was trying to push through the media fear in us. That if we didn't get the vaccine, that we could die, or we could, kill our loved ones by exposing them to it if we were carriers but not, asymptomatic, I think is the correct term. But that we could be carrying it and we might not know it, but we could pass it on to somebody and it could kill them.
As far as
you know what? You could choke on a Cheerio right now and die.
I know.
I mean, what's, I mean, it makes no sense.
I think a lot of this.
People make a conscious choice depending upon what their beliefs are and what they feel, and let them make a conscious choice.
A lot of
that simple.
But they're trying to take away that conscious choice. They're trying to make it so that you do it without thinking about it.
And
that's what the Democrats
I
do.
think they're trying to, because I think this is
Republican.
And
now, Mr. Republican too. Let me tell you something. You blame all this stuff on the Democrats, but the Democrats surely didn't start this. That supposed vaccine came out in the Republican era.
Yeah, but it wasn't being forced down your throat either.
It was about to be.
You were given.
It was about to be.
You were given a choice to take it.
It was about to be.
We got a vaccine, just like the flu vaccine. You got a choice. You want to go take it, you can.
People weren't going door to door
until Joe Biden. Thank you very much.
I hate to tell you.
Trump wasn't sending people door to door. Yeah, I'll mention his name. Wasn't sending people door to door to make sure people got their vaccination. And at one point, Biden was.
I haven't seen anybody coming to my door.
Okay.
I haven't either. So, that's got to be a sporadic thing.
I think that's in certain states. I think that's in more the Democratic-run states, like New York.
We got about 8 more minutes here. I'm just going to throw the whole.
You're reaching.
I'm going to throw the whole.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Schedule out the window.
I guess
We're just going to talk about this kind of stuff the rest of the night. We haven't had an open forum like this for about a year now, and it's been an interesting evening.
Hey, it's time to get down and get dirty.
No.
Well, I'm gonna run, but man, I was glad I could.
Not that way. Not that way.
I told you I was gonna be in Pat, but I was just running a little bit late.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Hey, John, if you get a chance, you should join tomorrow night, because our favorite sports debate of Baker Mayfield is going to come up.
Well, I'm not worthy enough to get a link, so I'm boycotting that show.
Oh, bull crap.
I was told I have to call in the phone number.
You did hear about
Okay,
stuff.
well, I'm the executive of that show.
Eric can send you the phone number and the link.
Yes.
Because that's his show anyway.
Oh,
I'm not worthy to be on that show.
Oh,
Again,
God.
I'm the point man. Pat just produces it. So anything when it comes to that show, come to me.
You did hear about Dave, didn't you, John?
Yeah, I did.
We went to the viewing today. Sad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was something.
This club is getting destroyed, man. The amount of losses this year is crazy.
6 people.
It's crazy.
Actually, we got to see Frank in a suit.
Oh.
That was worth the
Didn't know we
price of
had one.
admission.
All right, well, hey, I'm going to run, guys. You guys have a good night. It's been fun.
All right, John, thanks for coming in. Well,
Have a good one.
and have a
Hey,
nice
John.
Thanksgiving if we don't talk to you.
Hey, you too.
You're going to come in for the meeting Wednesday, by the way?
Yeah, why?
Business meeting, just curious. I got
No,
a couple of things we're going to introduce there that I came up with out of need. So I'd appreciate you being in.
sounds good.
All right, we'll talk to you.
He needs a vote. Damn it.
Huh?
Yeah, that's about it. I need his vote.
He needs a vote. He needs a vote, damn it.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, it works.
But getting back to kind of what we were talking about, I think the vaccination is the government testing to see how much power they can have over us to see if we can ever become either a socialistic or communist country.
Never happen. It'll never happen. Yes.
I know.
I do believe what you're saying because, like, they shut everything down on us, forced us into our homes. They've been giving us rules and trying to force us to follow their will, kind of like a socialistic kind of government. But you know what? Yes, the government will win in the end. Okay. Just like, Biden, he threw off at the mouth one day and said, if you want to fight the government, you better have F-15s and nuclear weapons. It's the same reason why most other countries say that they won't invade the United States because there's too many people in the United States that have guns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's too many people in the United States, has nothing to do with guns, that aren't going to let somebody absolutely run their life. And you could take Democrats. They could be the most democratic people under the planet and believe everything that the Democrats say. But you start telling them that they have to do this and they have to do that when they have to do it, even they are going to uprise.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have problems. I want to say it shouldn't happen.
That brings up an interesting thought.
I don't think it'll happen. Do I think people are trying to make it happen? Absolutely.
That brings up an interesting thought. We said a little bit ago that 1/3 of the nation hasn't got the shot yet. I wonder how many of those are Democrats and how many are Republicans.
I
wonder if there's a way of finding that out.
There is, but they would never tell you. They would never give you.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
No. The bigger question: how many people in our government don't have it?
None of them. Zero.
Huh.
None
Huh,
of
red
them.
flag.
Oh no! Nancy Pelosi got the shot on TV. Okay, Nancy Pelosi got the shot on TV.
They said there was
Wait
a thing.
a second on that. Wait a second on that though. Was it legitimately?
Could have been Kool-Aid.
I was gonna say, or did they just give her the flu shot and say it was the COVID shot?
There was a thing on
Exactly.
TV the other day that I saw that said that the U.S. government is the lowest percentage of vaccination of anywhere. That's a fact. Nobody's getting that shot. They all know what it's about. They all know what it's about.
Did you take the needle?
Unfortunately, yeah. I had to.
Okay. Okay, so you've had the threat since then. Okay, I'll give you credit for that. Okay.
I thought about it in order to stay working and keeping myself safe and the people around me safe. I decided to take it.
And it's your age, I probably would have.
If I would have known then what I know now, I likely wouldn't have taken it.
But I mean, it's your age.
But you know, the simple fact of it was, my work was taking me to 3 different hospitals and a pharmacy, and then on top of that, I was working for 12 different dealers, you know, tire dealers, and I just was dealing with the public all day long, and I didn't feel safe not taking it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have taken it.
I work in an assisted living facility.
You had a worse chance of getting it than anybody.
Huh?
You actually have a worse chance of getting it than anybody there.
Yeah, but you know what? Almost everybody. See, that's the way I look at it. Almost everybody in the building has had the shot. I've had COVID cases since I've been in the building, and of course, but you know what? I'm in the kitchen. I can go out and talk to the residents and some stuff, but I'm not in and out. And if I'm at a table having a conversation with you, I can keep my distance, but you know, I'm not in everybody's grill.
I think I had.
You know, I've been lucky. I really have.
I think I had it before anyway. I was sick after Thanksgiving, 3 years ago, and I was bad sick. It was my nose wouldn't stop running. I was throwing up. Well, I don't want to sound gross, but the running in my nose was making me vomit. It was the worst. That was the sickest I've ever been. I got rid of it in a day, and I've been okay since.
I think I already had it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That first January, it's like January, okay, and then about February, I think it was, they started talking about COVID.
Yeah.
That January, I had that real deep guttural cough, and it lasted for like 3 weeks because obviously I didn't go to the doctor. But
with
over 20 years, I missed 3 days of work. Well, 3, not 2, but 3. I missed 3 days of work in over 20 years. Now, it took something to knock me down that bad.
The thing of it with me was I lost my taste, my sense of taste, and that's why I think I had it. And you know, there were symptoms that they came out with that if you had it, and the taste thing was one of them, and I couldn't taste anything for about 2 or 3 weeks after that.
Well, I mean, I don't have any taste to begin with.
And
so
you're the most tasteless fella I know.
No, I mean, seriously. I mean, I eat your daughter's food. Just joking. I love you, honey. I want you. I want you.
I see a bird. I see a bird.
Hey, she made meatloaf tonight, and she makes the best meatloaf this side of the planet. Okay, so I'm good, and she knows how to make mashed potatoes. So, you know, it's not a problem.
All right, I think
she'll beat me up later.
It's time we wrap this up for tonight. So we did give it 2 hours. I appreciate everybody that came in tonight, and anybody that's tuned in also. If you get a chance, if you've found this on Facebook or YouTube, on YouTube, give us a subscription, please. We can use them. It lets Facebook know that we're being listened to, and it also gives you an idea on how when our shows are going to air. Any place else, as far as Twitter, as far as any of the social media stuff, find a way of giving us a like and let us know you're out there. With that, Dale, it's been a pleasure, man. I hope you don't be a stranger. It was nice having you in here
Thank
tonight. And everybody
I was
else,
trying to be controversial, but a good boy at the same time.
well, we expect that of you.
No, normally I don't try to be a good boy. I was trying to be a good boy.
Y'all have a
Trying to be a nice boy.
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Just quick
Happy Thanksgiving.
Just quick promo for anybody listening. Tune in tomorrow. Hashtags in football. We recap all the weekend sporting events. Tuesday night but Jerry and Pat 7 to 8 with World According to Elmer, and Saturday 11 to noon Sean, Nate, Gordon, and Pat with 4 Guys on Sports.
Yep. And then
Wait,
this
hold
show
on.
Sunday.
You said Sean, Gordon, and Pat, and then said 4 Guys on Sports.
It was Nate.
That's only 3 dudes.
Nate's the fourth one.
No, yeah, I thought I said Nate.
It's Gordon
You
and
did.
Nate Waters
Yeah, it was deaf.
and me and Sean. So there's 4 of
Yeah,
us.
I'm deaf.
What?
I'm deaf.
What?
Don't mind me.
Huh?
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 Keep it up. See what happens. Keep it up.
All right, y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
I'm going to put a Steelers flag in your front yard.
Yeah, right.
Will you dare me?
I'll take a hammer to it
Don't
like I
dare
did.
me.
I'll take a hammer to it like I
Burn
did your
it.
license plate.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Bye, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Thanksgiving, everyone.
I forgot about that.
I didn't.
That's some funny stuff right there.
Good night, Dale.
Say goodnight, Dale.
Good night.
Good night, Dale.
See y'all 7-3.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of Radio Active by the Crooked River Radio Network. See you again soon.
I'm getting away from stuff. I don't understand what that means.
Welcome to the Crooked River Radio Network. You can find us online at crookedriverradio.com, Live 365, Roku, Radio Garden, or just tell Alexa to play Crooked River Radio on Live 365. You can also find us on Facebook or Facebook groups by searching for Crooked River Radio. Thank you for listening to the Crooked River Radio Network.
Crooked River Radio. That's what I'm listening to.